Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. Election Commission of India today has announced the polling dates for Delhi Assembly elections. The election will be in a single phase. The voting will be on 5th of February and the results will be declared on February 8th. And the term of the 70-member Delhi Assembly ends on February 23rd. And elections have to be held before that to constitute, of course, a new house. But how are the odds stacked up in Delhi? Can BJP really unseat Aam Aadmi Party? How potential will be the anti-incumbency against the Kejriwal government? Will the welfare schemes of Aam Aadmi Party really pay political dividends? And of course, recently the reach out, the Hindu reach out, the Hindutva reach out of Arvind Kejriwal, how is that going to really impact the voters, and what kind of how will it really resonate on the Delhi's electoral map? We'll try and discuss all of this. Joining me now is Puneet Nicholas Yadav, senior editor with the Federal. Thank you so much, Puneet, for joining. We have Munif Khan, who's been a senior journalist who's covered Delhi extensively for the Hindu, and currently, apart from being a journalist, he's also an educator. Thank you, Munif, so much for joining. And we have Abhishek Rawat, who's also working for the Federal and has covered and has traveled throughout Delhi to cover various constituencies for the campaign. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for joining. And I'll begin with Puneet. Puneet, polling on 5th of February and the results declared on 8th. Now, what does that really mean? How much time do the political parties will they really get? Because the notification for the nomination and everything will begin soon. Is this time enough for the political parties really to go to the voters?
Yeah, well, I don't read too much into the dates this time around because, in any case, barring the BJP, the Aam Aadmi Party, and even the Congress, which has been on the fringe in Delhi, have both announced their candidates. Pretty much all their candidates. The BJP has also announced a chunk of its candidates, and so their campaign has already been on. So, on the specific issue of whether they'll have enough time or not, well, the dates are now known, and so I mean, even if they were not to have enough time, they would have had to make do. But I think they have sufficient time, and the campaign has already been going on
Right.
for most of these parties, which is why you had Ramesh Biduri make the kind of statement that he made.
Yeah. But looking at the general scenario, Puneet, and after this I'll come to Munif, that how do the odds look like, as far as the three political parties are concerned? It's going to be a triangular battle with Congress, Aam Aadmi Party, and BJP. And if you talk individually about the three parties, how well prepared do they look for the Delhi elections currently?
Well, I don't see a triangular contest on all 70 seats. Uh, Fine, the Congress is in the fray, but there is a lot more that the Congress needs to do before it can claim that there will be a triangular contest on all 70 seats. It's no longer the Congress that it was 15 years ago. We need to also remember that its vote percentage, its presence, its leadership, its organization, all of it has eroded very swiftly over the past 10 years, much to the advantage of the Aam Aadmi Party. So, by and large, on most seats, I do see a pretty straightforward bipolar contest between the AAP and the BJP. I would also say that the Aam Aadmi Party this time around is not as comfortable as it was in 2015 and 2020. There are multiple factors for it, anti-incumbency being just one of them. The other allegations of corruption, administrative failures, their own issues, which is also reflected in their selection of candidates, the large chunk of new candidates that have been fielded, incumbents who've been replaced. So certainly not as comfortable an election for the Aam Aadmi Party as the last two elections, but by the sheer logic or rationale of their performance over the past 10 years, the freebies they've rolled out, their organizational presence, their the issue of leadership, all of that, they do have an advantage. Whether it's an advantage enough to retain power for a consecutive term, a third consecutive term with a clear majority, that we'll only know on the 8th. But certainly, uh, a more difficult contest this time for the Aam Aadmi Party than for they have had over the last two elections.
Right. So definitely, there looks like that there is some anti-incumbency against the Aam Aadmi Party. And Munif, coming to you, that 67 was the number of seats which Aam Aadmi Party won in the first term. They got in the second term. That's from 67 they came down to 63. Uh, what is your speculation this time? And of course, it's like a rough estimate that can the tally go down below 50 because of the very fact that too many factors are playing out. The electoral malpractices which allegedly seem to be helping BJP in various ways. And of course, Rajiv Kumar tried to address those doubts in the beginning of the press conference. I mean, even before announcing the dates. And he spoke about the voter list deletions, which Kejriwal has pointed out. He talked about EVM hacking, and he said that all the FAQs are there. We follow all the protocols, and returning to ballot papers is going to be a derailment of the electoral process. He went on to address those doubts. But do you think that there are too many factors still which could help BJP this time, and maybe because of that, the number of the number of seats for Aam Aadmi Party could come down?
So we should make one thing clear here that the BJP never hasn't really stepped off the gas, and I will take this back to the MCD elections. They've had their foot on the gas the whole time. They have not stopped. They've had their top leadership come out when required. They've had other party level uh, concepts, campaigns, and whatnot. But if anything, the biggest winner of this election is already the BJP, and it's in various ways. Because if not too long ago, if you remember, the act on which the Delhi government is run, so on, they had changed the position and the power that the CM has, the chief minister has in totality. So, if I'm not wrong, there was a senior minister from the Aam Aadmi Party who confessed to me once that, we are nothing but a glorified NGO now. So, there is already some amount of disappointment within the party as to what the power of an elected government is in Delhi, given how the nature has changed and given how even civil servants have a larger say. But further from there, the BJP has much more to gain. I think even now, if you notice, some key figures, for example, Kailash Gehlot, the former transport minister, switches sides, and people from the BJP happily welcome him. The party is now down to a face-saving contest, is what I would say, because Kejriwal has now shunned the route of moving about as part of a rally. If you notice, the Hindu had a beautiful piece the other day as to how he's returned to Padyatras, which is to connect with the people by walking, and so on. But with all the allegations of having a lavish so-called renovation, and the juxtaposition here is that he came on the promise of being a common man. That's where the party gets its name from, Aam Aadmi Party. I do feel that the BJP has come out as the biggest winner, and if not the Congress, after their performance in the last MCD elections in terms of winning the minority vote, I do think that the Aam Aadmi Party has already lost a lot.
So you're saying that Aam Aadmi Party has already lost a lot. Abhishek, now coming to you, you've traveled across various constituencies of Delhi. And how do you think the campaign has been as far as the poll preparedness of the three parties are concerned? Uh, who do you think is performing better and looks better prepared in Delhi currently?
As far as the campaigning is concerned, the Aam Aadmi Party is on the edge because they are doing this since 1 month ago from the declaration of the election, and other parties are uh, much behind from Aam Aadmi Party in campaigning, because Aam Aadmi Party know that the elections will go in February, and other parties may take time to choose their candidates. So on this part, Aam Aadmi Party is on the edge, but there are so many challenges on the ground for Aam Aadmi Party. As the Munif told us, that the image of the Aam Aadmi Party has totally changed, and uh, uh, in minorities, especially in Muslims of Northeast Delhi. Uh, where in 2020 the riots happened, the Muslims are so much in anger with Aam Aadmi Party because they thought that Aam Aadmi Party not supported the Muslims at that time. So this is the big concern for Aam Aadmi Party in the seats where the Muslims are in majority, or maybe they are in very much stand. I am talking about the Mustafabad seat from where the Aam Aadmi Party Nigam Parshad was arrested, Tahir Hussain. Now he is the candidate of the AIMIM, and he has very much sympathy of the Muslim voters of that area. So this will create much problem for Aam Aadmi Party, and may be the BJP will take edge from Aam Aadmi Party on this point. So this is the scenario of the ground. Yeah.
Right. But Abhishek, where do you think is Congress in this entire poll landscape in Delhi? How is Congress really prepared or not prepared, or looks like a weak party in the Delhi's electoral scene?
Actually, if we are talking about the Congress, that this is the time when Congress can get its vote bank back from the Aam Aadmi Party. But there is on the ground we are watching there is some confusion between the Delhi leadership and the central leadership, because central leadership is not in the game till now. If I'm talking about the public, the core voters of the Congress party who were shifted to the Aam Aadmi Party, they are demanding that Rahul Gandhi should come on the ground and say something about the polls, or the any this guarantee, or the uh, any guarantee, poll guarantee. So they are waiting for the central leadership, but till now central leadership is absent from the ground. So this is the big challenge for the Delhi leadership. If we are talking about Mr. Sandeep Dixit, who brutally and bluntly uh, said against the Aam Aadmi Party that where were the claims the Aam Aadmi Party talked about 10, 12 years ago about Sheila Dixit. So these are the questions about the Congress where they are
Right.
like they are on
You
behind.
said no, you said that the central leadership of Congress has been absent, from the Delhi scene. Puneet, I'll come to you now. That why is the central leadership staying away from Delhi completely? What is the reason? And yesterday also we saw they held a press conference when they announced the Pyari Didi Yojana, and that scheme. DK Shivkumar was there, but we didn't see any other senior leader. Of course, the people who are in charge of Delhi, they were seen, but by and large, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, or for that matter, even Mallikarjun Kharge, they've all stayed away from Delhi. What is the reason for that?
Well, the reason is quite simple, Nilu, and I think I've written extensively about it for the Federal. You see, when it comes to the Aam Aadmi Party, and particularly in Delhi and in Punjab, the Congress leadership, the central leadership of the party, doesn't really know or has not been able to decide what its terms of engagement with the AAP need to be. The central leadership, uh, and particularly since Rahul is now the LOP in the Lok Sabha, Mr. Kharge is the LOP in the Rajya Sabha, and there is this umbrella coalition called the India Bloc, of which the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress are both part. So, when it comes to parliament strategy, national strategy, all of that, both Mr. Kharge and Mr. Rahul Gandhi want Mr. Kejriwal on board, want the Aam Aadmi Party on board. But that is not how it plays out when it comes to the states. It's all right for them to, have during the Lok Sabha elections minor kind of an alliance for 2 seats in Gujarat or a seat in Haryana. But when it comes to Punjab, when it comes to Delhi, it doesn't work out that way. I mean, they did have an alliance in Delhi, but see how, what came of it. Uh, when the Congress set up its sort of one of those committees to look into the poll disasters that had happened, uh, it uh, um, all three candidates of the Congress went and complained. Now, I'm not going into the merits of their complaint, but they all went and complained that they got no support from the Aam Aadmi Party workers, even though Kejriwal may have come and campaigned for them. Uh, if you talk to the Aam Aadmi Party candidates, they said the same thing, that look, and we got no support from the Delhi leadership of the Congress party. So you have the Delhi leadership of the Congress, or whatever remains of it now, struggling for survival, minus any support from the central leadership. And the first chance they get, they hop ship. But there are some who still don't have that option, or who may genuinely be ideologically committed to the Congress, who don't think that they see a future for themselves outside the Congress, and so they kind of carry on with the state, despite the state of affairs of the party. Uh, if you go back a month, uh, you know, in November, the Delhi Congress started its Delhi Nyaya Yatra. The entire yatra went on for a month in 4 phases. No central leader of the Congress participated. Rahul Gandhi did not participate. Priyanka, Mr. Kharge, nobody participated. Even KC Venugopal did not go. They've been, they made a laughing stock of themselves by saying that we had representation by a central leader because Ajay Makan is the treasurer of the party and he came. Ajay Makan is a Delhi leader ultimately.
True.
And I mean, I don't want to go into Mr. Makan's own role in, in the destruction of the Congress in Delhi, but his presence can't be equated with the presence of the central leadership. Once the Delhi Nyaya Yatra got over, on the 9th of December, if I'm not wrong, there was supposed to be a Nyaya Chaupal that the Congress was supposed to organize, with Rahul Gandhi, being the centerpiece of that Chaupal. He was supposed to have interactions with people from various walks of life. And the evening before, on the eve of the Chaupal was called off without giving any reasons. Then you had Mr. Ajay Makan do this press conference a few days ago, where he called Arvind Kejriwal an anti-national. And naturally there was a lot of backlash from the AAP and from Mr. Kejriwal to Mr. Sanjay Singh to Atishi, all of them saying that the Congress needs to be thrown out of the India bloc and all that. The central leadership of the party kept quiet all through. And then Mr. Makan was supposed to address a press conference the other day to explain why he said Mr. Kejriwal is an anti-national. And that press conference was called off at the last minute. So, there is this constant back and forth between the central leadership of the party and the Delhi leadership on what to do with the Aam Aadmi Party. And ultimately, it is the Congress that is at a disadvantage because, whatever the leaders may be doing, they're not able to revitalize the party on the grassroots because of what is happening between the state and the central leadership of the party. So, if there are candidates who manage to, I would still not say win, but at least manage to get a substantial chunk of votes in this election from the Congress, they would do it purely on their own leadership, on their own merit, on their own capacity to mobilize supporters. And of course, the self goals that the Aam Aadmi Party has made with regard to the minority community, particularly the Muslims,
Right.
their own very shady kind of dealings, engagement with the issue of secularism, whether it was Shaheen Bagh or the Northeast Delhi riots. It's something that if it happens, if those votes get polled for the Congress, it will not be because the Congress is strong. It'll be because the Aam Aadmi Party betrayed the confidence that these people showed towards the Aam Aadmi Party.
No, but Puneet, I mean, I want to understand from you that, normally in states like Gujarat, in states like Haryana, where Aam Aadmi Party also has contested elections separately and not an alliance, we've seen that Aam Aadmi Party has chipped into the votes of Congress. Say, for example, what happened in Gujarat. Now, will Congress be able to do the same to Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi? Because that's what everybody is expecting, that if Congress can chip into the vote bank of Aam Aadmi Party, then they can dent Aam Aadmi Party to a certain extent.
Well, as I said, that may happen in a handful of constituencies, but not
Okay,
because the Congress is powerful,
right.
purely because of the factors of that constituency, the composition of that constituency, the kind of voters there are, the kind of candidate that the Congress has fielded. So you may have a Farad Suri in Jangpura polling a decent number of votes because of his own mobilization, his own connect locally. He's contesting against Manish Sisodia. I'm not saying that he will win, but he might get more votes than an average Congress candidate does in Delhi. You know, but that is purely on his own merit, not because the Congress there is powerful.
True.
See, I think the Congress's biggest blunder was in 2013 when there was a minority government by 28 MLAs of the Aam Aadmi Party got elected. The Congress extended outside support. You see, 13 years have 11 years have passed since. Nobody in the Congress till date is willing to open their mouth and explain on whose recommendation was the Congress willing, or did the on whose recommendation the Congress gave that outside support to the Aam Aadmi Party. And what happened when the Aam Aadmi Party government fell after 49 days? The entire vote bank of the Congress, lock, stock, and barrel, moved to the Aam Aadmi Party. And after
Right.
that, the Congress has not been able to, forget in the assembly, but even at the municipal level, barring the aberration of the last municipal elections, the Congress hasn't been able to, bounce back in Delhi. And nobody in the Delhi Congress, I don't want to take the name of the gentleman on whose advice this was done, but
Hmm.
nobody has held that person to account.
But I'll come to Munif now. What about the issue of corruption? Now, Prime Minister, when he was speaking at a rally in Rohini just a few days back, he raised the issue of Sheesh Mahal, Kejriwal's Sheesh Mahal. Then, of course, there's a liquor scam, which they will try and talk about. BJP, I'm sure, will do that. How big is going to be the issue of corruption? And how is BJP really going to target Kejriwal on that? And how is Kejriwal really going to target BJP? And do you think that corruption will actually become a big issue? Because Kejriwal started on an anti-corruption plank. And by the time he reaches the third term, this is where the Aam Aadmi Party is. That we are talking about a Sheesh Mahal, we are talking about his lavish lifestyle and how money is changing hands and all of that. So, how big is going to be the issue of corruption in Delhi?
So if you remember the other day, I think it was Sunday, when the Indian Express had actually done a page one story about what the expense was of the so-called additions to the house and so on.
Yeah.
Now let's remember that I think all of us have met politicians who have done equally, or if not largely, lavish renovations to their, whether it's their government quarters or whether it's their private quarters and so on. But in Kejriwal's sense, the reason why the BJP has hit home with this, that they've actually struck a chord with the public, is because, quite simply, when Kejriwal, if you remember, when he'd come to power, he said, "I will not take a car." He was a very, he proclaimed to stick by this idea of simplicity and to be this Aam Aadmi and so on. 11 years later, if I'm not wrong, it's been 10 years and 11 years later, that image has dwindled far away, very far away from what it was. It started off with the liquor scam. It was an alleged liquor scam. Leaders went to jail, and like I said, the BJP has never really taken their foot off the gas. They've been on it. Corruption, in terms of perception, is going to play a very big role in this election. The fact that Arvind Kejriwal actually had to resign and put somebody else on the CM's chair means that it got to him at some point.
So Abhishek, towards the end of it, do you think that Delhi elections is going to be an election which might go down to the wire, because if BJP is also trying its level best, to claw into Kejriwal's vote bank, we've already discussed that point. There is going to be a tough going for Kejriwal. It's not going to be as easy as it was in the first term or the second term. So, is it going to be an election where maybe a hung assembly or a possibility of a hung assembly could arise? Maybe an election which could go down the wire. Do you see a possibility of that?
As per my view, that there is no possibility of hung assembly because AAP may get about 40 seats easily. This is my perception. Because people are very much have justification for the corruption about this AAP. They are saying that all are equal in the politics, so they have a justification for AAP. But obviously they are accepting this, that Mr. Kejriwal has changed since first day, and now after 11 years he has changed totally about his deeds, about his guarantees, and whatever he said during the initial days of the Aam Aadmi Party. So there is a tough competition between all three parties. But if Congress will do better, then obviously AAP will lose so many seats in the coming election.
Right. Okay, so the model code of conduct has been kicked off from today, because the poll dates have been announced, and of course Rajiv Kumar during the press conference saying that people have to keep in mind the kind of language they use during the campaign, and he also uh, stated the fact that many times he's tried to control himself, but we do not know as to what happens to Rajiv Kumar when Prime Minister uses the same language or the senior BJP leaders use the same language. There is no action by the Election Commission on that. But yes, Delhi elections surely will be an interesting thing to watch out for once the campaign begins. And so we'll have to wait and watch how the campaign unfolds. Thank you so much, Munif, Puneet, Abhishek. It was wonderful to have you on the program. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.